Utah Jazz, Nate, are advancing to the second round. They have defeated and eliminated the Memphis Grizzlies 4-1. This honestly, it was a very good series. Despite the Memphis Grizzlies only winning one game, it was a very good series. When you really look at the stats, I mean, game one, the Grizzlies took it 112 to 109, and we really thought like, hey, this could be a very competitive series, and it was. But again, since then, the Utah Jazz did what they needed to do to win every game. They won 141 to 129 in game two, 121 to 111 in game three, 120 to 113 in game four, and 126 to 110 in game five. Now, going to the stats, their leading scorer was Donovan Mitchell. He had 28 and a half points, 3 rebounds, and 5.8 assists. Let me tell you something, Nate. With 1.3 steals, I love Donovan Mitchell, Nate. Like he reminds me, like again, he to me, a lot of people compare him to Damian Lillard, and you can make that comparison. But to me, he reminds me of a little bit of like a Jimmy Butler. But I think he's a better shooter than Jimmy Butler. But I think Jimmy Butler is a better distributor, if that makes any sense. But I think once Jimmy Butler like retires, I think when that finally, I think Donovan Mitchell might be my favorite player in the game. One of my favorite players, and he is one of my favorite players in the game. Following him was Jordan Clarkson, the sixth man of the year. He had 18.6 points per game, 3.2 rebounds, and 1.4 assists. Bojan Bogdanovic, he had 18.4 points per game, 4.8 rebounds, and 1.6 assists. And then Mike Conley, Nate, you can make an argument that he might have him or like you can make an argument that he might have been one of the best players on that court in this series. He had 17.4 points per game, 3.8 rebounds, and 8.6 assists, which I think are very good stats for Mike Conley. And Rudy Gobert doing the dirty work, Nate. 17.4 points per game, 13 rebounds per game, 1.2 assists, and 3.2 blocks per game. So, yeah, look, overall, this Utah Jazz team, everybody did their role very, very well, and that's why I think got them the win. When you have two players that are scoring over 18, your star players dropping 20 and a half a game. When you have Mike Conley, who's your point guard, dropping over 8 assists per game. And when you have your center and Rudy Gobert just being a defensive menace, that really does help you. In the Utah Jazz, everybody did their role very, very well, and they capitalized on everything. And one more guy who scored in the double digits, Royce O'Neal, he dropped 11 points, 7 rebounds, and 1.8 assists. And he had 1.6 steals, which actually led per game on the team. So, yeah, Nate, the Utah Jazz did a lot. And everybody in there, everybody did a very, very good job. Some guys that I wish that were to contribute more were Joe Ingles. I wish he would have contributed more. Again, he was runner-up for 6 man of the year. He only had 6 points, 2.8 assists, and 2.8 rebounds. So I wish he would have contributed more. But now going to the Grizzlies, Nate, okay, I'm looking at this team. And let me tell you something. John Morant and Dylan Brooks, they went off. They really went off, Nate, okay? John Morant averaged 30.2 points per game, 4.8 rebounds, and 8.2 assists. Ridiculous, Nate. He was absolutely ridiculous in this series, no doubt about it. Dylan Brooks had 25.8 points per game, 4.2 rebounds, and 2.2 assists with 1.4 steals. So he did a very, very good job all around. Valanciunas, he had 15 points per game, 9.8 rebounds, and 2.6 assists. Jaren Jackson at 13.6 points per game, 5.6 rebounds, and 1 assist with 1 steal and 1.2 blocks. So the Grizzlies did play a great game, which is why it was so competitive. The Jazz really had to fight to win those 4 games that they needed to win. But at the end of the day, the Utah Jazz, I just feel like the guys on their side played their role better than the ones on the Memphis Grizzlies side. Obviously with the exception of probably Dylan Brooks and John Morant, which they did an absolutely amazing job. I just think the Utah Jazz, everybody all around overall had a good game plan. They stuck to it and they did what they needed to do. And again, I gotta give the Utah Jazz a lot of credit. Coach Snyder is a very, very good coach, and I gotta give him a lot of credit too. He's done a great job with this Utah Jazz team. So now I look at this, Nate, and I'm thinking to myself, like, what's next for the Utah Jazz? I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong. If you can look this up for me, I think the Jazz
they faced a winner between the Mavericks and Clippers.
Oh, Mavericks and Clippers?
Yeah.
No matter which one that is, that's going to be a good game. That's going to be a good series, no matter which one that is. Because again, let me tell you something. Luka Magic is doing some great things in that series, but Kawhi Leonard and the Los Angeles Clippers did bounce back from being down 2-0. So we'll see what happens, Nate, right there. That's going to be a good series no matter who they play. But let me tell you something. I think what really helped them was I think one key fact that really helped them. There's two, well, three obviously. You got that big three in Utah. You got Mitchell, you got Conley, and you got Gobert. But I think Conley being a good distributor, I think Mitchell being a good scorer, and I think Rudy Gobert being the great center that he is, doing the dirty work for them. I think those three really did have a big effect on the Memphis Grizzlies. And I'm going to be honest with you, Nate. Okay, the Memphis Grizzlies were not a slouch whatsoever. I think the Utah Jazz could really make a fight in whatever series they play, whether it's the Clippers or the Mavericks. Now I know what you're saying. Luka Doncic is a magical guy, and Kawhi Leonard obviously has championship experience. Nobody's doubting that. But the Utah Jazz, I would not be surprised if they eliminate either one of these teams. I would not be surprised because the Utah Jazz, that big three, is doing what they're supposed to do. But in order to do it, I got to see guys like Joe Ingles get more involved. Okay, you were a runner-up for Sixth Man of the Year, and this series, you just didn't have your best series. But when you got Jordan Clarkson averaging over 18, when you got Bojan Bogdanovic averaging over 18, when you have Mike Conley averaging over 8 assists, and when you have Rudy Gobert averaging over 3 blocks with 13 rebounds and 17 points, I mean, like, what else could you ask, What else could you really ask for your team? And so, with that being said, Nate, I do wish the Utah Jazz the best of luck in whoever they play. As for the Memphis Grizzlies, best of luck in the offseason. You guys had a great season this year. John Morant really stepped up and showed that in year two, he really has improved. And I only expect bigger improvements for John Morant come next year. I expect this man to be an all-star. And I have big expectations for John Morant, and no doubt about it, I think he'll live up to him as well. So, with that being said, best of luck to the Memphis Grizzlies in the offseason. Congratulations to the Utah Jazz for making it to the second round, and we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, best of luck to the Memphis Grizzlies in the offseason and next season. Best of luck to the Utah Jazz in the second round. Again, they face the winner between the Mavericks and Clippers, which either way, Mario, I'll say this. Whoever goes, it's going to be a 7-game series. I'll just say that right here, right now. That's going to be a thriller to watch. It really is. But overall, Mario, the Memphis Grizzlies, when I look at these games, and I watched a couple of them too. I watched game 3 and 4. I didn't watch game 5. I watched highlights of it. But they really gave the Utah Jazz a hard time. There was only one game where they lost by over 20 points, and that was game 2. Other than that, Mario, they kept it very close. They lost game 3 by 10. They lost game 4 by 7. And then they lost game 5 by 16. So it was a little bit of a blowout in game 5. But those other games, Mario, they did give the Utah Jazz a fight, and obviously they won game 1 by 3. They won 112 to 109. So I'll give them credit, they gave the Utah Jazz a hard time in a lot of situations. Now what's next for now you may be wondering, what's next for the Memphis Grizzlies? It's easy. You just gotta build around Dillon Brooks and John Morant. It's that easy. Like I said with the Wizards, you can build around those 2 stars. And like you said, it is very difficult to do, especially in the modern day NBA. But it's not impossible. You can definitely do it. You know what I mean? If you can do that, then I have a lot of hope for this Memphis Grizzlies team. And if I'm a Memphis Grizzlies fan again, I'm very optimistic about the future. Because this team's got a bright future ahead of them. As for the Utah Jazz, this is definitely going to be a fight for them. Whether they face the Mavericks or the Clippers, I think either team they face.
But look, I know people don't really have a lot of faith in like the Utah Jazz or like these teams like the Suns, but I think these teams are legit, Nate.
They are. No, they definitely are
legit.
Whether the Jazz face the Mavericks or the Clippers, it's definitely going to be 7 games. Doesn't matter who they face. I'll say that right here, right now. But again, we don't. There's no winners to that series yet, so we won't make our prediction. But that's as far as I'll get. That's as close as I'm going to get to a prediction as of right now. So with that being said, again, best of luck to the Memphis Grizzlies in the offseason. Just got to go back to the drawing board and, hopefully you can make a deep run next season. As for the Utah Jazz, congratulations to you guys. And I wish you guys the best of luck in the second season, in the second round of the playoffs. Excuse me, second season. What's that? But anyway, best of luck to you guys in the second round. And I'm very excited for the second round of the playoffs, Mark. It's going to look really lit.